heavy day for films. That's really what I can say about this one. Not a whole lot of lightheartedness in this first day of what we're watching. So, of course, it's been mostly narrative stuff, so that might be why. Later on, we're going to get to some Midnighters, and those will probably be funny crazy. But we just watched another batch of short films that, for me, were all over the place. And I don't know how Jessica felt about some of them. We're going to find out. So let's start with the first one, which was Don't Come Telling Your Mama. Was that what it was called?
I'd have to look up the title. I have not been taking notes.
I did. Don't come tell your mama. Yeah. No, don't go tell your mama. That's what it was.
It's don't go telling your mama.
Yeah. So the concept of this one was it was 26 short films based on an alphabet of Black culture history. And for me, it was all over the place. Like, I understand I'm white. I don't understand a lot of Black culture, probably a lot of the Black culture. So watching this with no real context to what half of the things were was very confusing to me. But some of the segments where they were talking to prominent Black people and communities, I found that fascinating. Listening to them talk about the way life is, the way life has been, how they're trying to fix things, and how we all need to be fixing things. I thought that was super fascinating. I kind of wished every letter would have been about someone talking about that.
About someone talking about what?
You know, like there was A for amphetamines, and it was just this weird GIF almost of them like tripping out, living room, hovering like they're being abducted by aliens. I didn't understand what that had to do with amphetamines at all.
Well, I mean, I think it was that they'd taken amphetamines.
Yeah, but what did it have to do with Black culture, history, terminology? That was the point of it, was a Black history, culture, terminology alphabet. Like, I didn't know what code switching was until it was explained by the poet lady.
So the synopsis says Topaz Jones debuts his second album, Don't Go Telling Your Mama, as a reimagining of the 70s Black ABCs, a view into his and America's Black identity through 26 individual scenes, each representing a letter and a corresponding update to their meanings. Yeah. I mean, the way that I viewed the film, the way that I view all films is it's art, and it might not make sense to me. I loved it. I loved it. I'm a sucker for good editing. It was really well produced. No, I didn't understand all of it. As a white person, I'm not going to understand all of it, but also it's art. And just because something is in another culture, it doesn't mean, like, there's lots of art I don't understand because it's from the perspective of the artist. Yeah. And this is from the perspective of the filmmaker. So I just watched it with an open mind, and I know that you did too. And I loved it. I can't even really tell you why, aside from the fact that I just thought he had a really interesting way of telling his story using the alphabet. I didn't understand the amphetamines thing. There was a lot of the letters he used and the clips that followed that I didn't understand. The clearest thing to me would be when it was an interview and the person talked for a long time. That was clear, but it's art, and it's not always going to be clear. I thought it was really brave, and I thought it was really interesting.
Like I said, I love the part where it was them talking because I understood the correlation between what the letter was and what he was trying to convey. I got it when it was the skits, like time. And it was the kid sitting under the light post that kept asking what time it was. And the kid was watching the light. And then once light came on, he disappeared. They're like, oh, yeah, his mom was crazy. Like, I got those things. I understood. And I was trying – I guess it's because I was just trying too hard to understand what the art parts were. Like the sour ropes. Like that weird shot coming to the car and the shot back over the car where they're just eating candy and, like, starting a music video.
I think that was 1970s, like Black community. They probably hung out that way. I think it was a throwback to specifically that culture and what they did for fun. For white kids, it was actually kind of the same thing. Like who has their license first, and just like hanging out on the top of a car and listening to music. I don't know that, and I mean, I'm not the filmmaker, so I can't speak for the filmmaker, but I don't know that every single segment, every single letter of the alphabet was supposed to be really that deep. There were snippets. Some of them were super deep. Some of them were just like snippets and passages of time through his narrative story.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, though I didn't understand all of it. But I like the fact that some of the things that were talked about and shown earlier I didn't understand would be explained later on with interview segments, like code switching and things like that. And I think overall it was just really good. And like Phil watched part of it, he really enjoyed it. He goes, "You're not going to get it because you're white." I get that. I 100% understand that. I don't live that life, but at least I could understand parts of it. And I like the fact that he included a lot of like home video footage, because it was just showing as he's doing this that there's no reason for this separation to happen. We're all people. We'll have families. We'll have stories. We all have a history. We'll have love lives. There's no difference in your family and my family and the family next door, and that we're all here. And so I got that from watching it. It's like, hey, we're a one world group of people, but we all have different ways we speak, but that doesn't mean we have to be so against each other, so racially divided and things like that. And I got that part from listening to the woman talk about words and how she uses them and how we all use words. Like, I just thought overall it was really well done. Not at all what I was expecting.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
And so we go from this heavy one to Marvin's never had coffee before.
You know what? I felt like that was a metaphor. I felt like, I mean, it was very like pandemic topical, because they're all working remote. They are all on a Zoom call, and it's clearly pandemic topical, because when a guy makes his order for coffee, he's got a mask on when he's outside waiting for it. And I felt like the coffee was a metaphor for connection, like throughout this whole fucking terrible year of where we have been sheltered in place and quarantined and not allowed to fucking do anything. Like, his wanting to fit in so badly, I can attribute that to somebody wanting to make a connection with someone so badly. And for was it Martin or Marvin?
Marvin.
For Marvin, it was coffee.
Yeah. What I liked about it was what it secretly was. Because for me, when we got to the end of it, it was a quirky gay love story. Because you always see these quirky straight love stories, and you don't ever really see the quirky queer love stories. It's always, they're really hot, they just kind of hook up in media. Like, that's just how it is. And you get these like fun, quirky Jennifer Lopez type love stories for straight people. And this was just two completely weird office guys actually hitting it off at the end.
And I did not see a love story coming. I had no idea that was coming.
Either did I. So I really enjoyed the sneaky aspect of that, because it's not something you see as an everyday media representation.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just really funny. And I liked when he stopped the guy on the street, like, "Do you have any tips for coffee? I'm trying to connect with my coworker." He's like, "Dude, I'm just trying to walk."
He's like, "I'm just trying to like walk home right now." Yeah. I felt so sorry for poor Marvin. I was like, "Oh my God, this guy, this is so sad." But he found his connection through something he didn't even like. And I love that. I loved that quirky piece.
Yes. So then we go into sales per hour. Now, this is basically a day in the life of high-end retail. Again, I was not expecting it to go the way it did, but it shows the depressing life of working in retail and the need for a job.
And you are a slave to two things. You are a slave to the person who owns you, who is your sales manager, and you are a slave to every single person who comes into that establishment.
Yeah. So it follows this small group of people who work at this high-end boutique, and they're trying to make sales quotas for the day. And so, they're doing their usual shenanigans on customers, and they have their own little system. And then something really weird happens that's a little uncomfortable. I'm just warning you guys now.
Yeah.
And she has to just kind of suck it up, because if she follows her conscience, she loses her job. What's she going to do? And if she just sucks it up, what kind of person is she? Like, I like that look of desperation when it ended, and she's just looking out the window as the credits played.
Well, for me, that ending was so upsetting because it told me what her response was. It's a day in the life is all it was. The piece was not about taking action. The piece was not about doing the right thing. I'm not saying she did the wrong thing. She did. I'm not saying that, it just was what it was. And then it's like, oh, sorry, there are dogs fighting right at my ankles. I mean, they're playing, so they're kind of loud. But I was like, oh, that hurts my soul, because everybody could see. And that was a weird, I mean, are you really trying not to give spoilers here? Because I can't talk to you freely.
You can. This point on, there's spoilers. Just you're totally go like this.
Yeah. I mean, spoiler. So, like, everyone knew about that dynamic because he was with two young girls. And even, like, the one who was like, hey, are you okay? And the girl's clearly drunk. But, like, he's with two young girls. Or at least, I'm not saying that they're girls. And I don't know how old they were. People, it's really hard to tell what age people are these days. They could have been underage. They could have been over the age of legal consent, which is over the age of 18. But the girl at the end did look a little bit older, and she's like, hey, are you okay? Like, no, she's not okay. Like, you guys are all in this dynamic. You know what this is. Y'all, like, go shopping with this older man who buys you shit. He's either your sugar daddy, which is what it kind of sounds like. And it's rape. And because she was saying no, everyone heard it. And it was just so upsetting because at the end of the day, the sales worker is, she does her best to help the girl. And then it's like, well, where's the next customer?
Yeah. And she was told specifically, let it go.
That was triggering to me when the boss was like, go upstairs right now. And she's like, I heard her say no. And he's like, go upstairs. Like, almost like he's a parental figure. Go upstairs right now.
Yeah, that was very hard to watch, because by the end of it, I thought it was a woman and her daughter. And so, because you
thought the two girls was a mom and a daughter?
Yeah, and so he was, sugarcoating the mom, but then did what he did to the daughter in private. Like, I was not okay with that one at the end. It was so, like I said, the look on the clerk's face as she just staring at the window, that she just sold out her morals for her job because she has to,
right?
Because she needs the money. Just said it all. Like,
yeah, it was a triggering piece for me. It was triggering. Whether or not that girl is an escort, or maybe she did consent to a sort of a sugar daddy dynamic, she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And so then that brings up all these other questions. It's like, how did she get herself into the situation? She is a victim. It hurt me. And also that man knew exactly what was going on. Even at the very end, can you print this out for me? Like, clearly he's a fucking rich ass white dude. And it was so, and I don't personally know that actor, but I've seen that actor in so many other things. He's wonderful. But it was just so awful. It was really well done. Everyone, turned out a wonderful performance. But yeah, for me, it was triggering.
So we go from triggering to completely bizarre. No, not completely bizarre. Completely sad. The Criminals.
Okay, what country was that? What country was that?
That was Turkey and Romania, those places where the religion makes the laws.
Yes,
And
but is that based in reality, or is that
yeah,
kind of a thing with like this could happen?
that's based in reality. There are a lot of countries overseas that are the religion makes the law, and like you cannot be together if you don't have a marriage certificate. You can't really show public displays of affection. Like it's a reality. And so this movie is about this couple in college who just want a date night, but they live in this reality where they can't get a room together. Everything's reported to the police. All these old guard of these old mentality of this is the way you have to be. You're sinners otherwise. And I like the dynamic of that versus the modern kids who are like, no, times change. Love is love. And you got the old guard going, no, 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 no. And so they end up sneaking into the same room and get caught.
I mean,
And
does that really happen? They call the cops and they're going to have you
yeah,
arrested?
in some of those countries over there, they will call the cop. It is against the law, and the women will get disgraced and shamed and thrown out. Like it's a real thing in some of these countries and offshoot countries that literally make it so that you're not married, you can't even touch. Like I find that so sad because these kids are living in a modern world where we understand each other better. We understand our beliefs and stuff more. We know some things aren't right anymore, but they're stuck there because the old guard is in charge.
I
But yeah,
wonder how close to reality, or like, because I looked at the synopsis. I'll probably research this one a bit. I wonder if these are based on real events of the filmmaker, like, because it wasn't unbelievable the way that the guy came into the room and was like the whole power trip and power play of, oh, get on the bed and do what you're doing before, and like doing the squeaky squeak with his keychain and like getting in the bed and like moving his hips, like that is law enforcement. And that guy wasn't even law enforcement. He probably just fucking worked for he was security or whatever he was. Whatever it was, he said to the kids to scare them. Like, I'm security. You're probably a fucking janitor, like whatever you are. But
he
like
was security. He was the hotel owner's brother.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, so he literally was secure. But my point is that whatever you are, going into the room and like just basically pissing all over everyone with your dick that you have to have out to show that you're the big, powerful man in charge. Like that wasn't so fantastical to me. I could, if you're saying that in these countries, like it really is like literally against the law for a young couple to have a date night and to get a hotel room on their own because they are not married, then I totally believe that would happen. That because that's just a guy being an asshole.
Yeah. It's so like
It was intense.
I knew because I thought this was going to be about something completely different, but I knew when the couple went to the hotel and the guy said, "You cannot be in the same room if you don't have a marriage certificate," that they were going to be the criminals. They were going to find a way and they were going to get caught.
And I knew also that it was called criminals because they were being treated like criminals, not because they were criminals.
Yeah. So that one was really good, really kind of intense towards the end. It just makes you sad to realize and how fortunate we are that there are places in the world that actually act like this.
Yeah.
So then we go from serious to completely off the wall. Let's talk about Squeegee.
Oh my God. I wish I could play that role. That was so creative, so fun, and it made me so sad at the end.
I'm going to let you describe this one.
Huh?
I want to hear how you describe this film.
Okay, so clearly, oh, Iva, get down. Hi, baby. Oh, no, Iva, you're pushing me into my green screen. That's not working. So clearly, this woman waits for this man every day or whatever day it was, Tuesdays or whatever, when her big corner office, and it's like clearly like big city, like New York, big corporate city, gigantic buildings, and she's got a beautiful corner office with nothing but windows. So she's a high exec. And she has this ongoing relationship with the window cleaner. And I just love the flirting through the window. The guy's on the fucking scaffolding. I think that's what it's called. You know, yeah. And he sees her and they're flirting. And then like, what wonderful choreography that there's actually a sex scene. There's actually a sex scene that happens between glass. It was absolutely wonderful and hilarious. So well done. The actors in it were amazing. But what kicked my ass is when they finally see each other in real life, she fucking takes off because she knows in her high executive, high paint, she's got all these shopping. It clearly has money for days and, you know, legs for days, money for days. She's beautiful. But like, she's got, you know, she's just been in like Saks Fifth Avenue. So yeah, that is New York. You know, and she sees him and she runs. And I was like, oh, it really is just a window fantasy. Cause she's probably the film doesn't go into it. God knows she's probably married with kids and she just has like this tryst through the glass. I thought it was so creative and so fun and like hilarious.
It was quite funny. I like when her assistant walked in on her. That scene was priceless. My only issue, and this is from a director perspective, is he had a lot of continuity problems. The set was different like every other shot.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, you could tell they filmed it over time, but the set constantly was moving. I don't know if it was purposeful or not. And the window she cleaned to prep wasn't even the window they used. So it was like, wait, wasn't that supposed to be there? Did they flip the images? Like, for a short film, you don't have a lot to remember. But they forgot everything in this one. Even though it was super funny, it drove me crazy that the set constantly changed.
I did not even see that.
Yeah, so that was the only thing for me. And other than that, I thought it was super great. I thought it was super great. Just, you know, director side of me, that little bitty part is like, I focus on continuity a lot because that could make or break something.
Well, that's valid. And that's something that is pretty important. And it's hilarious that I didn't even know. Because I noticed shit like that too. And I didn't even notice it because I was so focused on the action.
Yeah. But I do have to say, for the lack of continuity, the attention to small detail, like the cum on the fingers that he rubbed on the window, they get mad credit for that small detail.
He's like stroking her hair, and there's like, you know, snail trails of cum, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't know. You put that much into that detail, that scene, but you moved a plant to the other side of the table just to drive me crazy. So,
oh my God, it was so funny.
Yeah. And then last thing we watched was really upsetting to me.
Soak.
From, I guess, Japan. Because, like,
Korea.
I love Korea. I love Japan and Korea in those areas. I want to go so bad, but everything is so tiny and compact. I'm such a big guy. I don't think I'd be able to go anywhere. But I love the way they film things. I love the way the streets are and how everything is just very efficient. So this film starts with a daughter who's in, I guess, was it college or high school? I'm guessing high school.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure which school she was in.
Well, she's meeting up with her mom at a bathhouse. And there was a weird part when the mom got out of the bathtub. She had that giant bruise on the back of her leg.
Back of her back and back of her leg.
Yeah. And so
I never understood that.
I get it now. And so she realizes
it was the dad?
Yeah. She realizes that her mom left to take a break because she met someone else who has a whole other family. And like, I was feeling so bad until the dad started texting the daughter at midnight and the way he talked to her.
Yeah.
And then when they woke up in the morning and the mom's like, here, take this money. You look so cold. I'll call you after school. Like, she's the nicest woman. And she goes downstairs and sold the mom out to the dad.
She sells her out. Why did she do that?
Because it makes me sad, because to think it's just one of those things, like, you can't be in the same room if you're not married. There's this weird cultural thing in a lot of I call them the old guard, that they just can't change. And this is it. And it's being instilled on their children, and the children who don't know how to break it. Everyone asks me, how did I break how I was raised? Because I was raised in a very racist home. Like, I could tell you the weirdest stories, and yes, they've come a long way, but I never picked up any of their traits. And it's because, for me, I realized this isn't a way forward. We're all just people, and life happens. And so when we watch these films about this institutionalism that, like they talked about in Don't Go Telling Your Mama, it's imprinted upon these new generations, and they don't know how to break it. And so this was another example of the next generation not being able to break this stupid ass cycle and not making things better. I don't know where the disconnect is in some of these things, but it made me really sad at the end to see that she did this to the nicest. I mean, the only one of her parents who actually probably loved her.
Yeah. Yeah, that I didn't see that coming, and how did the dad know where the daughter was?
The daughter told him.
When?
We don't see that, but it's implied that she told him in the middle of the night.
Oh, okay. So she did text him back.
What I think about it, she may have not wanted to do it, but felt like she had to because she couldn't go to Seoul.
That's the whole point. She fucking read that text message because the man that her mother was having an affair with didn't fucking care about her either. And he was like, sorry, your daughter's not going to be good for my daughter, so you're going to have to fucking leave her. So fuck you, dude. I'm sorry. My father's an asshole. My mother's new boyfriend's an asshole. Like, what? She has nothing left. And so if her mother but this is what kills me though. I wish that she would have talked to her mother and said, exactly. and this, I mean, there wouldn't have been much of a film if this would have happened. Cause like, it's a communication thing, but like, hey mom, I kind of looked at your phone and saw some text messages, and apparently your boyfriend wants to leave my ass here, and it sucks. And like, I don't want to live with dad. I really want to go with you. What's your plan? Because her mother's like, oh, my daughter, I will never leave you. Or, oh, my daughter, you are coming to Seoul. Her sister, the girl probably wouldn't have sold the mother out to the dad the way that she did. But it's like, what is she supposed to do?
Yeah, so
assuming that her mother is going to leave her.
Yeah, as I was thinking about that scene, that could have been why she did it, but she may have been planning to do it anyways. And that's why when you see the end, you work your way backwards, and that's why I think this movie is brilliant. It puts all the pieces in place as you work your way backwards. So this is one of those movies that you watch and you pick up on things, and then at the end, you have to work your way backwards to see how it all got to that point. This is actually a really brilliant film now that I think about it. Like, this is on par with Femme for me so far today.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a bad film today, honestly. The Romeo and Juliet thing, you know, I wouldn't call that a bad film. No, but I wouldn't call it a bad film. So everything I've seen might not be my cup of tea, but it was all really solid work. But yeah, Soak was, and why do you think it was called Soak?
There may have been something lost in translation for us, but it started with the soak in the bathtub.
Right.
And that just kind of started this spiraling issue with this girl. Like, yeah. Anyways, that's our next batch of shorts we watched. We have so many more to watch. I'm so excited because I love talking about with you afterwards, because we watch a bunch of them and talk. and we both see different things and did the same things. Like, I absolutely love it. I've had so much fun so far.
I know. It's been a blast.
Next, we are watching Broadcast Signal Interrupted, which is our first Midnighters film.
Okay.
We'll do a review of that, and then we're going to watch a bunch of Midnighters shorts, which I cannot wait to watch because those are like my favorite. I love the Midnighters section. They're the crazy, stupidest things ever, and I love them. They're bizarre. So we're going to get to Broadcast Signal Interruption, which is a film about a guy who unearths a bunch of old tapes with some weird conspiracy stuff on them. Should be interesting. So we'll be back in about an hour and a half to do another review, and we'll be back after that for more. And then we got all the way through Friday, Saturday to do this with you guys. So thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
And we'll be back.
Bye.